Weirdest dream. Oh. You're probably wondering why I've woken up in a VW ID Buzz. Because it's not a camper van. Yes, despite what a large portion of the general population seems to think, at the moment the characterful new ID Buzz is only available as a 5-seater, like this, or a cargo, that's a van to you and me. VW says that a camper will appear in the next few years, but will be based on the long wheelbase version. However, as you can see, if you're impatient, then I have found a solution. This is the Ququq, apparently that is how you pronounce that, BusBox-4, and I think it is genius. I found it online and it is actually on the VW website as well somewhere, and it just converts your new ID Buzz into a camper. Look at this. Right, so you open it up like that, fold this down here, voila! In here we have your cooker, complete with little windshield in there, fridge here, couple of seats, your water supply. It's genius, everything you need to have a fry up in the morning. Obviously the bed folds back on top of here as well, and obviously I'm tall and I fitted in the back of the Buzz. It's awesome. The BusBox-4 costs just over £3,000, or about 5% of an ID Buzz. And the best bit is that with a couple of strong people, the whole thing just slides out, leaving you with, well, a normal 5-seat ID Buzz. The question is, what are you actually left with? Because yes, everybody loves this, it looks really cool, but is it just a fancy painted van with all the inconveniences of a commercial vehicle? Is it the equivalent of this? This is a perfectly ordinary sweatshirt, isn't it? With sort of, mildly insulating properties. But no, it's a Christmas jumper, therefore everybody loves it and thinks they must pay more for it, etc., etc. But essentially it's still just a sweatshirt at the end of the day. So, is the ID Buzz just a novelty item? Is it the automotive equivalent of the Christmas jumper? There are of course benefits to this being a bit like a van. For a start, the driving position itself, which is a bit like a van. So obviously I'm nice and high up here, I've got these sort of captain's chairs with the armrests, and then it's not quite like some of the vans I've driven where you get that lovely feeling of being right over the front wheels and you have the really good view out. This has obviously got these sort of false A-pillars out here. They feel a bit weird to start with, but you get used to them fairly quickly, and actually those little sort of quarter lights in there are really quite useful in terms of visibility. Back there, it's like a van, so you've got an awful lot of load space, even with the middle row seats up. If anything, I wish you could make it even more like a van in the back there by having the option to remove the rear seats altogether. But they merely fold down, and you have to fit the curious false floor if you want a flat space all the way through. Obviously, there are some downsides to it being a bit like a van, so you can never quite get away from the sense that there is more room in here and therefore a little bit more sort of road noise. The acoustics, it's a bit like sort of, walking into a cathedral or something like that. You can tell you're in a big space. Obviously you can't put the rear windows down, which could feel, well, a bit annoying if you're in the back, a little bit claustrophobic, but fundamentally it's quite a nice place to be back there with the tables on the back of these seats and little pockets as well. Seems nice. I'm not sure how hard wearing the materials in this Buzz will be, but it all looks and feels a cut above your average commercial vehicle. That's a vegan alternative to leather, in case you were wondering. There is also an awful lot of storage in here. So we've got the cup holders down here, we've obviously got the Buzz box here, we've got this, whatever it is, it's got an Audi badge on the bottom of it in fact, but door pockets as well. It feels like a really nice, practical, everyday car to live with. We've even got this little bit down here for charging your phone. For those of you not familiar with VW's current infotainment system, it's not very good. This one, at least it feels slightly bigger and it's slightly closer here, so it's slightly easier just to reach and navigate your way around. Obviously you can use Apple CarPlay, but it's just not a very responsive system, and you've got the weird things like the fact that the controls down here don't light up at night, so they're effectively useless unless you have really good muscle memory, which you might do after a while. So that's definitely a downside to this.
By and large though, it is a lovely place to spend time. I really like all the little unnecessary but also somehow crucial details, like the smiley faces in the door handles, the pause and play symbols on the pedals, the BuzzBox complete with bottle opener and ice scraper dividers, and the various outlines of buzzes, some of them quite well hidden, like this one on the rear window. The only detail that really annoys me, and this is probably just my years working on magazines, is the badge on the back. The kerning on that full stop. Ugh, heinous. Let's have a look at a smiley face again. Ah, much better. Now, you'd probably like some more hard facts and cold figures at this point. So, the Buzz is 4.7 metres long and just under 2 metres in both width and height, and its weight is a mite under 2,500 kilos or 5,500 pounds.
For anybody worried that it might feel a bit cumbersome to manoeuvre, it really doesn't. It's got fantastic steering lock on it, and so a really tight turning circle, and because you've got those short overhangs, it feels, well, pretty wieldy. It's easy to place, and so for manoeuvring around car parks and parking spaces and towns in general, yeah, it feels pretty good. It rides pretty well as well, although it's got 20-inch wheels in this version, it's still got a decent profile on the tyre, so it's comfortable.
It also feels nice to drive because, well, people smile at you.
Everyone loves the ID.Buzz. Literally, it's like driving around in a supercar, except more friendly.
This two-tone paint colour obviously helps it stand out, but you'll have to pay £1,800 extra for that. The lower half of this is bay leaf green, if you're interested.
And then we come to the fact that this is an EV, an electric vehicle. And it's both a blessing and a curse. It is all at once the thing that I think lifts this above, well, other vans, other campers before it. And it's also the thing that makes you just think, I'm not sure.
Underpinning it all is a 77 kilowatt-hour battery and a single motor on the rear axle, putting out 201 brake horsepower and 229 pounds-foot of torque, and doing so almost silently.
Normally NVH in a van would be, well, pretty harsh. Not so in this at all. It's beautifully refined and quiet. Then there's the fact that it has really good performance. It's responsive in a way that, you know, I've driven quite a lot of vans in the past and none of them have been as good as this. Around town particularly, that sort of that 0 to 40 miles an hour, even 0 to 60 miles an hour, this is plenty quick enough.
It has a top speed of 90 miles an hour, and although 0 to 62 miles an hour is claimed to be a leisurely 10.2 seconds, it feels rather quicker than that. The Buzz even handles pretty well, with all its weight low down.
The problem though comes with that thorny old issue of range, and more particularly the charging network.
The range is claimed to be 255 miles from a full battery, but I saw more like 210 miles or 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. That's not huge, and although the Buzz is capable of charging it up to 170 kilowatts through its CCS port, you've got to find the charging point to deliver that. If you only find a 50 or 22 kilowatt charger, you'll be twiddling your thumbs for hours.
And on a long journey, that all adds up. It's great when you can find a 150 kilowatt charger, then it does make sense, but the rest of the time, not so much.
Better then for local camping trips than long European road trips, which is a tad frustrating. However, if you charge it at home and use it as a spacious, everyday family bus, a cool alternative to an SUV that never goes off-road, then I think this is fabulous and makes a lot of sense.
The ID.Buzz, it's not just a novelty,